Blessed are those who trust in the Lord, whose trust is the Lord. They shall be like trees planted by water, sending out their roots by the stream. Shall not fear when heat comes, and its leaves shall stay green. In the year of drought it is not anxious, and it does not cease to bear fruit. Please be seated. Some of you know that Charisse and I just moved to Norwalk, and each time we checked out a potential new home, the first place we headed was to the shower. It's not just that nearly everyone loves a hot shower, right? With a good strong stream. If we're late for a date, inevitably Charisse is still in the shower. Hurry up, I say, we're going to be late. And she responds, wait, I'm meditating. As for me, it's often in the shower that I hear God's inspiration most clearly. So this week in the shower, I've been thinking a lot about the Beatitudes. For centuries, our summary went something like this. Regardless how miserable your life is, don't worry. You'll get your reward in heaven. Theologian William Sloane Coffin once quipped, "These comforting words have prevented more revolutions than armed guards ever could." The idea that we suffer on earth so we'll be rewarded in heaven is mostly drawn from the text in Matthew's Gospel, the Sermon on the Mount. But today we heard Luke's version, which we call the Sermon in the Plain. Listen to the difference. Matthew's spiritualized third-person account reads, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God." Compare this to Luke's gritty immediacy. "Blessed are you who are hungry now, for you will be filled. Blessed are you who weep now, for you will laugh." Luke also goes on to explain why people suffer. Not because they're sinners, which was the conventional wisdom of the time. No, it's because of the self-interest and hard-heartedness of others. Listen. "Woe to you who are rich," Luke says, "for you have received your compensation and your consolation. Woe to you who are full now, for you will be hungry. And woe to you who are laughing now, for you will mourn and weep." Hard words. In Luke's gospel, Jesus describes two kinds of people: those who suffer and those who, either through direct action or through indifference, promote that suffering. And Jesus calls on his followers to be a third force of service, healing, and empowerment. Because he knows that this is the way we all learn how to love. I love Luke's text because it's rooted in Jesus' human experience, in seeing the tremendous need among some and the tremendous capacity among others. He's discovered the hope that we and the world can change. Now, you know, in Jesus' time, there were no such thing as social service agencies. The marginalized lived and died by their own devices. So Jesus proposed that his followers embrace these people and share everything they had with them. And when they did, that's how the hungry were fed. That's how the prisoners were released, the poor lifted out of their hard-scrabbled lives. That's how the good news happened, not in some distant heaven, but right now and right here. Scholars tell us that that's why Christianity spread like wildfire after Jesus' resurrection. Christian communities were the only places that people on the margins could get the respect, the help, the life-giving support, the love that they so needed. So they flocked there in droves. My beloveds, we live in very scary times. As a nation, we seem to have shifted from complete polarization to complete chaos, almost overnight. We're terrified that those already on the margins will face even greater suffering. When I stopped to get my hair cut this week at the shop run by a group of friends from Mexico, they talked palpably about their fear. But they also refused to give into it. That's why they distributed materials in Spanish to all their clients about their rights as immigrants. Many of us are tempted these days to give into a sense of powerlessness, or worse, hopelessness. But listen, while these are normal responses to trauma, if you get stuck there, in the end they help no one, least of all ourselves. There's a great expression in the recovery community that says, if you're feeling lousy, just go help someone else. It's amazing how fast you'll feel better. It applies equally to us. So our job in times like these is to deepen our connections with God and with each other so that we have the energy, the strength, the courage to encourage each other as we recommit to supporting those most at risk. Wednesday's parish newsletter announced that we organized a new outreach team at St. Paul's. In a way, this is not new at all, since this is one of the most committed groups I have ever seen when it comes to service. But this team will encourage even greater encouragement, unique St. Paul's projects, and news about other opportunities to serve. And their timing is perfect. We need this infusion of hope that always accompanies being of service to others. In fact, isn't that the whole point of the baptismal promises? One of my favorite writers, Anne Lamott, describes the essence of baptismal promises as a willingness to step out and act on what we believe in, no matter the times, knowing that God is with us. Listen to her words. Most of what we do in worldly life, she says, is geared toward our staying dry, looking good, and not going under. But in baptism, in lakes and fonts and tanks, we agree to do something that's very sloppy. Because at the same time, it's also holy and absurd. It's about surrender, giving in to all those things we can't control. It's a willingness to trust, really trust, and then let go of balance and decorum and get drenched. So next time you're in the shower, stay a few extra minutes. Recommit to your baptismal promises and get ready to be drenched in the hope and joy of your faith in action. Blessed are those who trust in the Lord. They are like trees planted by streams of water, bearing fruit in due season, with leaves that do not wither. Everything they do shall prosper.